Hey, Reset Patrick here, and I want to thank you for checking out episode 8 of the Reset Button, where we talk about Activision-Blizzard. Before we get started, I want to let everyone know that we did have audio issues with this one, where there were two different audio tracks recording my voice at once, so you're going to hear an echo. We were not aware of this until we had finished the recording, and of course, when we were doing a double take, we figured it out and fixed it, so episode 9 should not have any of this issue. So I apologize profusely. On with the show.
Loading complete.
To the Reset Button, Episode 8, ActiBlizz Adoption. I got it right that time. Boom! I'm so glad to be back. We've got a lot to talk about with this episode because some crazy stuff been popping in the industry. But before we can jump into the topic and get everything started with that, we have to go around the table and make sure everybody listening or watching knows who the hosts are. Everybody knows who I am, Reset Patrick. Been doing this forever now here on Reset Press. But over here is the only Canadian I know that has a Tanuki tail. This is Mr. Johnny Chase.
Yeah, like they put it out in the chat. I didn't notice that, but the way the logo is set up, it looks like I have the tail. But I'll take the best power up in Mario history.
Agreed. Some people might say the leaf, but no, it's the Tanuki tail. Straight up.
Oh, it's the same thing.
No, you get the statue. You get the statue.
Yeah, but the tail's the tail. The tail's the same thing.
It's classic.
It's classic.
A favorite.
And of course, last but not least here is, of course, Liz.
Hey everyone. I'm so glad to be back with these lovely gentlemen, and I'm in for a great time as usual.
And it's going to be great times all around this evening. And of course, great times if you're Microsoft too. That's the topic we're diving in this time because they got themselves a nice little rock on the finger there with that recent purchase. Of course, we're talking about Activision-Blizzard, something that was teetering back and forth. Will they get the purchase? Won't they get the purchase? They had some legal hurdles to get through, but at this point, it looks like it's going to be a done deal. So we're going to talk about exactly what started all this, the hurdles they had to go through, and what we expect this is going to mean for both companies going forward. Because that is one of the biggest buyouts in gaming history. So for anybody who's not super familiar with everything that went into it, it was almost an $80 billion, with a B, dollar purchase.
Oh my God.
78.9, if I want to check the number again, 78.9 billion. Huge number there. And if you compare it to the amount that they purchased Bethesda with, that was only 7.5 billion. So a huge difference. Humongous.
And so, honestly, us normal people, $1 billion is can't even conceptualize that, let alone almost 80 billion. This is insane.
The Microsoft, that's chump change.
Yeah, it's
true, but still, it's insane.
It's insane that it's chump change, but for the most part, yeah. You would think that, the 7.5 billion for Bethesda, I thought that was pretty good. You know, that really solidified their place in the gaming world. Because a lot of people say, well, Sony has the exclusives, Sony has, a lot of the great franchises. Well, I guess if you can't build your own, just buy them. That was a really good get. But this is like the get of gets. And of course, I think we all know what the big get is with that one. The one that caused all of the chaos with, down here in the United States, we had the Federal Trade Commission was trying to block it. It was trying to be blocked in Europe. The UK is still somewhat fighting this thing, and that's because of the mega franchise Call of Duty.
Yeah. What I find funny is that, like, hasn't it been for like the last few years, like Sony has gotten like the exclusive, like DLC rights for the first like couple weeks. So like if a new map pack came out, that PlayStation would get it first, and then PC and Xbox would get it afterwards.
Yeah, they
like
had,
I always found that strange,
like
like how I always find this funny how they had like all the exclusivity throughout the run, and Activision not owned by anyone. But oh no, Microsoft did it now. That's that's not fair to the Sony. But from what I've heard that Call of Duty will still be supported on Sony consoles.
It will be supported on all
at least
consoles.
10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it will be supported. We have confirmation from Microsoft. Now, I don't know if this deal is inked in, but this is what Phil Spencer has said, that there will be a 10-year deal with both console makers for both Nintendo and Sony. It's going to be available on all platforms, obviously. The big difference, though, is that, of course, if you have Xbox Game Pass, you are going to be able to play Call of Duty games day one without anything more than your Game Pass sub.
That's crazy. So much money thrown out. But then again, like I don't know the full numbers of what Game Pass does for developers and publishers, having their games exclusive on there for even a short amount of time or permanently. But like even so, like man, like Call of Duty is such a moneymaker still that I feel like that's just gonna. I mean, unless they're compensating Activision-Blizzard with all like what they're purchasing for, like that's a lot of money being taken off the table.
Well, I can see where you're going there, but my counter argument to that, and I think this is why it's such a brilliant move and why it's such a great deal to do something like that. If it works out this way, maybe it won't. But one of the things Microsoft did to really hammer home their position and to solidify this deal is they actually released console sales numbers again. If you all recall, they stopped doing that during the last console generation with Xbox One. They were so far behind that they said, there's no point in this anymore, we're not releasing numbers. They released those numbers again to show just how far behind they were compared to Sony and PlayStation 5. And I think one of the major things that they're pushing with this, and the reason why they showed these numbers, well, one, of course, they wanted the deal to go through, and I think that was a major factor that helped. And two, this is going to help boost Xbox sales. Simply because, you buy your console, you get your Game Pass, you've got your Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like, continuing that point, I think that secrecy, like all of a sudden having that transparency with the latest generation, I think on Microsoft's end, I think that's like a good positive gesture in their dealings with this, but then it also shows the public, once this deal is solidified, assuming it is 100%, it's not all done yet, assuming it goes through flawlessly, those numbers will spike within the next 5 years, if not immediately.
Yeah.
I think so.
And I'm trying to think too is that they're going to do the same thing they did with Bethesda. It's like, okay, we're not going to make, like with Bethesda, it's like, okay, we're not going to make Fallout and Elder Scrolls Xbox exclusives. However, if Bethesda has anything that has been released that's not been promised, those are now Xbox exclusives. I'm safe to say that's what ActiBlizzard's going to do as well. Like, anything that's developed in-house will still go on PC and then console exclusive. If it's a new IP, I mean.
It seems
a new
way.
IP stay on console. Yeah.
It seems that way because... Yeah, aren't they... Isn't that the way that the latest from Bethesda Starfield, right?
Yeah, because I think Starfield was announced shortly after the acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a new IP, so that's like, oh, that's just going to be on Xbox and PC. And then like Elder Scrolls 6, whenever they start showing screenshots of that instead of the JPEG logo they showed at E3, 5 years ago now. That's still coming to PlayStation.
And so, go ahead.
Trying to like remove my biased aside, because like I'm gonna make this really clear. I'm like so not an Xbox person. Like since there's 360, I'm like hard no on like Microsoft consoles. PC good. But just removing my preconceived notions and biases. If I wasn't so deep into like my Nintendo and Sony games, let's put it that way, seeing that like these different acquisitions that they have and they're bringing new IPs to these consoles would greatly incentivize me to want to buy an Xbox. Even again with my like Xbox bias, let me call it that, I'm really curious to see what they will bring out, if it's any different flavor than what these studios have been making historically. Because if they want me as a customer, if they have something that's only gonna be on the Xbox and PC, I'm gonna have to go out and get myself a new Xbox. So I think it's brilliant on that part.
They definitely need new blood. A lot of the things that Microsoft has been putting out in-house for the past, I don't know, 7-8 years, is just, it has been clicking. They bought Gears of War just to ultimately have it do a lot of nothing. That is a franchise that's currently floundering. Right now, Halo is probably in its worst state that it's been in ages. And of course, Bethesda tried with Redfall, but Redfall, if it's not a dead game, it's very close to being a dead game. So if they can bring in new blood with new ideas, then I think that's probably going to be exactly what they need to push forward. Because this is a company that has focused on a lot of their old franchises, some of which from like the original stretch of like 2001 to 2006, that's what they've been living in for a very long time. It hasn't been too kind to them, except for I almost said Gran Turismo. Forza. Forza has been the big exception. Everybody, if you love Forza and you're a fan of racing in cars, Forza has been your bread and butter forever now. They seem to do no wrong with that, but everything else, I think they've had a rough road with.
I mean, with Halo Infinite, it hasn't been like, in the sense of like other Halo games, it's been terrible compared to like the original trilogy, but it's still good time. Like I can still go on and get like a couple of good matches on there. I mean, it's a decent FPS, but it's not doing anything game changing.
Right.
Although I am seeing now, I am seeing videos within like the Forge community. People are making amazing maps in Forge. Like I've seen someone like you'll appreciate this, Patrick. Someone actually created like a toy bedroom, but like on the table, someone actually made the Lego Mario. You know that Bluetooth one that you get with the Mario sets.
Oh,
to recreate that in Forge.
That's
Only
cool.
Up is like one of the biggest PC games right now, and everyone's trying to recreate Only Up in other games. Like it's in Fortnite, but now someone made that map in Forge and Infinite. Like it's crazy what people are creating in that. But
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm really not familiar with Forge. Could you guys give me like a really brief description of what the game's like or what it's about?
Well, Forge is the map making tool in Halo. So it's just you can take the assets,
That's
recolor
how out of the
them.
loop I am.
Yeah.
So
I think
Forge,
it was in 3. I think 3 was the first time Forge was ever created.
Yes, Forge was introduced in 3, and at least with the last Halo game, I can say it's probably one of the most powerful map-making tools I've ever seen in a console game. It's very, very in-depth. The issue is, and the reason why I say people are really turning their noses up to Halo right now, is the model that it's currently used. It has a free-to-play model, and I think that upsets people more than it invites them in, if that makes sense. I think perhaps if Infinite was a game that you actually paid for, and you just leveled up and did everything like you did in previous Halo games. I have nothing against the gameplay. I don't think other people do either. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone who's currently like watching live. If like people just hate the gameplay of this, set me straight. But I don't think that's the problem. I think they have a problem with this free-to-play model.
What I've seen is that it's a lack of consistent updates. Like there was a time there when they finished season 2 with their battle pass, and then they're like, "Yep, that's we don't have anything ready until next year." So like, it's not like
packages?
Well, it's all cosmetics. It's like Fortnite or any other of these skins. There's skin cosmetics. There's gems you can put on your guns. There's weapon skins. I mean, again, it's all cosmetic. It doesn't do anything to the gameplay.
Okay, got it. I mean,
but they have a really good model, and I really wish other companies would do this, because going through a battle pass is so painstaking, and Reset can attest to this, especially with Fortnite. Like, if we don't have enough time to do it, we finally feel locked in, and then there's those days you're just grinding to finish what you want in the battle pass before it's gone. With Halo, when you buy the battle pass, if you don't have time to do it, cool, it'll still be there, because you can just flip it to the battle pass that you previously bought whenever you want. So like, let's say you got to level 50 and you're like, oh man, I didn't get the other level 50s. If any other game, whether it be like Rocket League, Fortnite, or Siege, or any one of these ones that have battle passes, if you didn't get it, too bad, it's gone forever. With Halo Infinite, if you bought the battle pass, do it at your own pace. It's like, oh, I got 50 levels on this. Yeah, like I really wish more companies would do that.
No, I would honestly spend more money with these types of games. Like, I don't spend money on these kinds of games, let me say that first and foremost.
Right.
But I have such a hard time with things with an expiration, or if it's like, hey, I gotta pay for a subscription to play XYZ MMO or online-based game. I simply don't have the time in the day to be a dedicated person to get really, really good at one particular online game. Like, if most, I might play it like once a month. That's kind of what's happened to me in my past experiences. But if there's no set, like, hard time limit for something that, like, I spend my money and put my time and energy into, and I can kind of, like, go at my own pace, I'd be so much more compelled to support these games in my own, like, gaming free time.
Yeah.
So, something I wanted to come back to there recently, because we're talking about Redfall and, numbers. I kind of go with Twitch. Like, I mean, this is viewers. That doesn't necessarily mean players, but I mean, you could almost have a correlation with who's watching this game being live streamed versus playing it. There are only 5 viewers on Redfall right now.
An article I read at the beginning of June. Okay, here we are mid-August. I read an article at the beginning of June saying that there was an estimated 200 concurrent players daily. And I imagine that has only gone down.
So, again, I'm not familiar with, this Xbox realm right now. Could you also describe Redfall? What's kind of like the objective or style of game?
I think with Redfall, the big problem there is a lot of people assumed it was going to be a Left 4 Dead style game. And the idea was a Left 4 Dead style game, and you're hunting vampires. So it seemed like a really cool idea. The thing is with Left 4 Dead, though, every character you play in Left 4 Dead is kind of, cookie cutter. No, one doesn't have something unique going on. And that's not the way Redfall was. There were unique characters that you had to level up. So that was, I thought, enticing. I liked that idea and thought it was much better than Back 4 Blood. Now, Back 4 Blood was, in my opinion, a terrible, painful game, and I did not like it. Redfall, I was much more interested in, and I'll even still say this. I know it's a dead game at this point. Still enjoy it. Still like it. I just can't find anybody who'll play it with me. But some of the issues that ended up in Redfall is there were glitches galore, repetitive gameplay. It was sometimes difficult to understand where to go for like certain sub areas. Like you could go like in a vampire hive, and you could get like complete it and get special items and whatnot. sometimes it would glitch and you would never know where the door to the hive is. You're in the area, but maybe you'll find it, maybe you won't. I know.
So perhaps there wasn't enough thought or polishing involved in the release of this game, which could also lead to its demise.
Right. I know this was even on game days, if maybe I can pull it back up. Woody and I, when we went and we were trying to find the hive, we ran to this house for, I think, 6 minutes straight before we found the door. It was ridiculous.
Awful. That's like not fun.
It's crazy.
That's one of those moments where I'd be like, could we play a different game?
Yeah. We streamed that for game days one time, and that was it. So
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. I have some hopes, some very positive hopes for Starfield. And it looks good. The only issue and concern I have, though, is what they showed character-wise for like their character assets. It looks like the assets are very reused. Did you notice that too, Johnny? I see the look.
I'm staying away from most Starfield info. If I do decide to play, because here's the thing, I'm not really a Bethesda RPG guy. Like, I just feel like since Fallout 3, it's just been the same game over and over and over again with the same bugs over and over and over again that the community has to fix over and over and over again. So, like, I'm going to wait with bated breath and to see. But if you're saying that, yeah, my fears seem to be well justified.
You know, can Bethesda learn from our recent Baldur's Gate 3 release? Like, please? Everyone says it's like perfect and they took their time and released something that's overall going really smoothly and really well. Can we just have more games like that? Because I'll spend $100. Like, honestly, not that I want to spend more money on games, but I keep saying, okay, now that like the MSRP for most games is $70, right? I would gladly spend $100 for a game that's not a piece of shit when it comes out. Like, that's all I want.
Exactly.
I don't care if the price tag is increased, as long as you don't abuse my trust with that price increase. I want something better. I don't care.
That's how I felt with Tears of the Kingdom, because I was like, oh, it's $10 more than a regular Switch game. It's like, well, yeah, but does it work? Is it good? Am I gonna get $100 worth of gameplay out of it? I did.
5-6 years to make.
I'm
it's
happy.
Worth it.
Oh yeah. Stuff like that. You know that you're in good hands. Unfortunately, with Todd, you don't know what you're going to get. Todd is a sneaky boy. Speaking of which, something else we should talk about really quick that we learned through the court proceedings with the FTC here in the States when Microsoft was trying to win their case and be able to buy the company. We learned how much longer it's expected before we see Elder Scrolls 6, which is crazy. They're saying at this point it's likely...
I didn't hear the news. Tell me.
Yeah, it was stated in court documents that it's expected to be another 8 years.
So the JPEG was 5 years ago, so we're at another 8 years. Why announce it at all?
I do.
Okay. I redact my $100. Give me a good game. I mean, that's a little too long. Okay.
So Todd came out on the screen, had the sign said Elder Scrolls 6. I bet you all the devs were just like, "There's no Elder Scrolls 6." It's like, surprise, get to work.
Now, of course, that could change.
Isn't that like Iwata when he was talking about the Revolution and saying it's like, "Oh, the new Smash Brothers will have online capability," and Sakurai's like, "What new Smash Brothers?" And he's like, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, we need a new Smash Brothers for the Wii.
Working on this, I think.
Tomorrow." Yeah.
Shut up.
Contact Kojima
like
and contact Sega. We need some guest characters in this. Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
I hate
Bye.
them so much. Like, I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do with the next Elder Scrolls, because I was over Skyrim the night it launched. Okay, I was over it then.
Oh God, don't tell my wife that.
Which launch?
That's true.
11/11/11. I worked the midnight release. Dang.
And now instead of Elder Scrolls 6, we are going to have how many releases of Skyrim are we up to at this point? I lost track.
I would say at least 13.
Hold on. Are there more releases of Skyrim or Resident Evil 4? Which one?
Skyrim for sure. Skyrim for sure.
But Resident Evil is a much older game in comparison.
It's RE4 on the Zebo? I think not. Point to RE4.
But ultimately, I don't know if it's actually going to take as long as it was estimated in those documents. We learned a whole lot through those court proceedings that I found extremely interesting. Also, things such as, the role of exclusivity with everything. Of course, Bethesda was not understanding why Call of Duty was being promised to have this deal where it would be multi-platform, yet all of their stuff was not going to get such a deal. We found that through internal emails that were released through court. It seems that the people who got bought out before are feeling a little frozen out there, just a little salty with how they're being treated. And I can understand, but
just say,
you ain't Call of Duty.
All these companies are pretty evil. Can I just put it that way? Like, think about it. Yeah, they are feeling like frozen out because we could have gotten a better deal, I guess. But think about all of the different entities and literally how terrible they are. So, to no surprise, if you're gonna deal with the devil, you better do it right. So I don't feel bad.
And honestly, while we're thinking about it, a lot of the Bethesda games and id games, they're going to do great. Doom 2016 did things that I don't think anybody expected. That game slapped harder than anybody thought it could. And then Doom Eternal really turned the dial up. Sure. Aside from that, honestly, everybody, what has Bethesda done that's really just rocked it? What have they done?
Well, I like that they helped release the Evil Within, and that's one of my favorite things in the world. But it's not a big deal to anyone else.
That's the thing. It's not Call of Duty.
They have to wait and see what happens with Starfield when it comes out.
So it makes perfect sense to me that Microsoft is wanting to do that as soon as they get their hands on something like, my God, Call of Duty is massive. Of course they want to put that shit on everything. Why wouldn't they?
More money.
Yeah,
more
of course.
Opportunities.
And then, that's even...
You have to think about it. But, Activision-Blizzard, they have been so... I'm not surprised that they would take borderline $80 billion for this deal, because think about their games in the last so many years. They've... Activision and Blizzard, even before they, went together, they're money-hungry, huge companies that have come across major success, okay? Because they have a product that's good. But if you look at the last 5 years of gaming, let's just kind of put it in that time frame. Activision Blizzard has been so desperate, and a lot of their games and their releases from the last couple of years, think of the latest version, Overwatch 2, and just the cog of the machine of the yearly Call of Duties and other major series. Obviously these companies are hurting, and they're releasing products that are really not that innovative or new, so they're just going to take that money from Microsoft. So, I don't know. I don't know. I just think these companies have lost that charm and will do anything to roll over and get more and more cash.
I mean, the number one person you got to think of when you're talking about that kind of behavior, and let's think of the company we're talking about here. We mentioned at the beginning, there's two words in that: Activision-Blizzard. So, of course, we've got the Blizzard scandal. We're not going to go into that too heavily because it's really nasty. It can be political, and we don't want to get into that. But remember, the guy who oversaw everything when that was going on, Bobby Kotick, is still the guy in charge of this thing. And once it's bought out, and once it's bought out and he's coming in there, they still haven't said if he's leaving. they've alluded that maybe he'll stay, maybe he won't, but there has been no definitive answer. So that is going to continue to be a problem.
Yeah.
And just kind of saying, like, without going super deep into, like, the issues that Activision and Blizzard have had, you know, with their controversies, with the people that they employ, and not being equal in the workplace, and a lot of other issues that I could go into that I feel strongly about, Microsoft is going to they're spending so much money to absorb that culture. And now think about, how good is Microsoft? You know, they could do a bunch of massive layovers, but who's going to, and like rehire, that's what a lot of mergers do. Or if they're trying to like reupholster the whole company inside and out, but who's going to make the games after they buy this company? So how much better is Microsoft if you think about it in that way?
Especially because they're not giving a definitive answer. Like I said, we don't know how that's going to go. We don't know, because certainly Blizzard has not punished the people who have caused this issue. And they haven't fixed a lot of the problems with their products. Overwatch 2 is still on fire. In a bad way. I'm not saying, yeah, this game rocks. No, it's on fire in the worst of ways. World of Warcraft is nothing compared to what it used to be. Diablo is getting a pass right now because everybody's still giddy about Diablo 4, but we'll see how long that lasts. And then StarCraft, it's dead. It's buried in the backyard. Nobody even remembers what StarCraft is at this point. So
unless you're really old.
It's just the unfortunate truth, though. It's just that right now, you know, this Blizzard is the worst it's been in quite some time. It's attached to this Activision thing, and we don't know exactly what Microsoft is going to do to rein this in, because that's not what they're talking about right now. It's all about money figures.
Out of curiosity, when you were naming off the games, I was like, I remember Heroes of the Storm. You guys remember Heroes of the Storm?
I enjoyed
700 and some odd people still remember that.
I really enjoyed Heroes of the Storm. It's just,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they never quite understood the genre, and I feel like there was something specific they wanted to do. They wanted that Dota name because they thought, well, you use our software to make the genre, so we should have it. And Court was like, no. Just because it was derived from your software doesn't mean you own that name. And then they were just like, yeah, here's the Storm. We'll change it up and it'll do this. And it never really worked. It was always like, I don't know, baby's first Dota is basically what it was. Plus, I'm bad at it.
I did when I was hard into Overwatch. I was hard into Overwatch. I was like, well, if I play Heroes of the Storm enough, I can get these really cool skins for Diva and Genji. That's basically it. And then when I was done, I was like, okay, I'm good. Oh, Wardman had to remind us, and then they remade Warcraft 3.
That's exactly what I agreed.
And overrid the original so that you couldn't go back and play it.
That was another major controversy, yeah. Go ahead, Liz.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just kind of like speaking about like the culture of like these companies and stuff like that. Like, just kind of like a side tangent, like a little more personal on this part. Like thinking about these cultures and in these workplaces and these developers and companies, and how negative and bad, you know, we've seen all these things come out of the darkness, all these terrible things, right? And I just hope that, you know, if Microsoft is going to like really push to put new energy into these games and make them better, and, you know, not just in the sense of like, this is a good game, but I really hope that they can instill better communities as well. Because if you think about a lot of the negative things about these companies, or company, whatever, merged or not, I don't know, at least I feel very victim to online gaming simply being a woman or a girl playing games online. And we look at these cultures and they were not very nice to women in the workplace, unfortunately. And I just hope, you know, when Microsoft finishes this deal, that aside from making a better product, I hope that there's a better community built around it. I know you can't control every little thing that happens online. That's not realistic. But I just think of like the people that play certain games, not every game between these acquisitions, but Call of Duty in particular being the biggest one. I just feel like it's not a female-friendly atmosphere whatsoever. And I know it's like a war game. Okay, I got it. Bros. But, you know, just the whole atmosphere of this whole entire genre of umbrella of online gaming, I think is terrible. So I hope it gets better.
If there was any company that could really push it and do a better job, Microsoft is certainly one of them, is certainly on the list, pretty high on the list too, because one of the things that I remember specifically when they were announcing the Xbox Series X with their reveal video is they had various engineers talk about the work they put into it and what they expected the system to be able to do. And lo and behold, a lot of those engineers and other people who worked on that project were women. And they had equal screen time to talk about their work and what they were doing. So it seems like Microsoft gets it, even if Activision-Blizzard is still a running mess under Bobby Kotick. The problem is with that, we have to circle back, is he still going to be there? Because he has been the leader that's caused it to become more corporate, way more money-driven, less like Blizzard than ever before. Activision has never really had that kind of atmosphere where they're fun, and they've never had Acticon or anything like that where you would expect to be able to go and talk to the devs. That's never been Activision. That's been Blizzard with BlizzCon and everything there. And Blizzard has never looked any less like itself than it does right now under his control. Is completely him.
Yeah, I think once the merger gets 100%, I have a strong feeling that, you know, Spencer and everyone else in Microsoft will just kind of pull Kotick aside and be like, you know, you haven't been like the greatest face of this company. Here's a package. Put out a tweet that says, thank you for these amazing years at ActiBlizz, and yeah, just go into quiet retirement.
Just
please
do the old fuck off. There you go. Yeah. Take this money, do the
take
fuck
your severance. Yeah, here's your buyout. Please leave. If you don't, you'll look bad on all of us.
Ground up on your own. Here's your money. Go start a new studio.
Yeah.
We're not so interested in you, unfortunately.
Oh, I don't think he would ever do anything like that. I mean, I'm gonna say it.
He's not creative.
Here's the most controversial thing I'll say all day. Bobby Kotick hates video games. Loves money, hates video games.
Mm-hmm. You can tell with a lot of people, especially when they get into their elder years, it's just like if they've been in the industry long enough, they're just like, I really, really don't like this hobby or this field of entertainment anymore. But god damn it, do I love the money. I better keep pretending I like it now. Mm-hmm. You can just feel like their soul leaving their body.
And just rake in the cash.
Yeah, they're just like,
that's how it works.
Yeah, I guess I like this game.
It's good.
Golf course. You know, it's a little spendy to join that club. It's true.
I'm going to transition over to the main reason why I think Microsoft wanted this so bad. And the main reason why Europe, and now currently the UK, fighting it so bad. This is the main reason why Europe and the European Union fought against it, and I think they had the right answer, even though they eventually rolled over, is the control of streaming content with video games. Reason being, a lot of people don't think that that's the future. They think that, this fad is not going to work out, that it's over. Thank you, Stadia. You planted that idea in everybody's minds. But, as I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, while you can stream games on your Xbox or your PC or basically anywhere right now with an Xbox subscription, Microsoft does a pretty damn good job of it. So what they are doing by getting this full library is they are building the best library of games to stream that the world has ever seen. They have the technology to do it, and they are improving year after year. When I first touched Stadia, and then I tried Microsoft's version, Microsoft's streaming was awful, and Stadia was perfect. The problem was, Google, they don't know how to keep anything going for long periods of time. They just don't. So Microsoft is a company that understands it's a race. It is not a race. It is a sprint, and they will take their time to get it right. That's actually the main reason why the European Union didn't want it to go through at first. They brought up game streaming. And the counter argument was that game streaming right now contributes like less than 10% of everybody playing games or something like that. Mm-hmm. But to future-proof that, it's only going to increase. It's only going to get bigger. And eventually, this is just the way I see it. It may not go this way, but I have a very good idea that it will. Eventually, you're not going to see people buying consoles at all. There won't be a need. You'll just need a phone, a cheap laptop, anything with a screen and internet. And as long as you have a Game Pass subscription and a controller to connect, you got it, man.
Yeah. Samsung's already doing this right now. Any television that you have bought from 2022 onward has a Game Pass cloud app on it. So all you have to do is pair a controller to your TV and stream Xbox games for there. I was just actually pulling up. I don't know if you want to go full screen on me here, but I have the Game Pass app on my phone, and I'm just going through the list of games that I can just play on my phone without having to need a controller. So I've got like Firewatch. They just put that back on there. Golf with Your Friends. Power Wash Simulator. I mean, I can't play it well, but I can play it. I just saw they put Celeste back on there. There's no way I can play this on touch. That's such a
challenge.
Twitch. Yeah, that's such a Twitch platformer. But man, like I just saw this on here. I can play TMNT Shredder's Revenge on the cloud through that streaming.
I mean, our phones are teeny tiny mega computers.
Yeah, with that one too. That is I was just going through the list of touch controls. I wasn't even going through like the full list of cloud-based streaming games. I have a video on my YouTube channel. I wish kind of did better, but actually with a Samsung device, and because it has the it's the Galaxy Hub. So basically, if I plug it in through USB-C and HDMI, it'll treat it as if it's a PC. So I actually was like, well, if I do it like this and I pair my controller on it, can I basically make this a mini Xbox? And I can. So if you get yourself one of these little dongles here, I bought this actually from GameStop as like a portable dock for my Switch, which they don't recommend because Nintendo has this weird voltage thing with their Switches. But yeah, no, all I have to do is just plug this into my phone, HDMI out to the television, and if I pair my controller to it, I can I can have an Xbox on the go. Of course, though, I had to have a really good internet connection to stream the games. I did a few.
But I mean, internet is getting better pretty much everywhere. Like, I don't know how it is in Canada, but here in the States, like, right now, Congress is doing a big push to, like, make sure that high-speed internet is available everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, giving people better internet will definitely provide a lot more quality in the country. Like, not just because, like, we're playing video games, like, giving people access to information and resources is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And I am seeing more and more and more companies roll out higher and higher speeds, gigabit and fiber throughout the country. Like it's a massive push in terms of like our infrastructure.
Yeah, Canada's kind of behind, but not really. Like we're rolling out. We're trying to get fiber off with every company in every area. Although I live in a major city, but my area, I only could have gotten fiber op 6 months ago, I think. And they were rolling this out like 2-3 years ago. So I was like one of the last few to be able to get it. And technically I had to upgrade because the service I get is the equipment is now considered legacy. So if it broke, I'd be screwed because I'd have to have a tech come out and like basically convert me over to fiber op, and now like appointments are like a week out, and I was like, I ain't gonna go out a week without internet. So I was like, let's just do this now. Get her done now. Yeah. So it's slowly coming, but then again, you gotta realize too that like probably like I'd say 60% of Canada, like when you get to like the northern parts of the provinces, is uninhabited.
So few.
And if it is, it's just like very, very, very remote and small communities that you either have to get there by biplane or wait until winter when the lake freezes over.
Like, I imagine there's probably like a lot of scientists, and then there's probably some like native communities, and then there's just those good old fashioned campers that just want to be off the grid.
True.
Yeah, there's I think there's always going to be that, but for the most part, we're going to see it continue to spread out there, and pretty soon it'll be pretty much a possibility almost anywhere you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would almost be to the point, and I can't wait for this. This would be a hilarious day. If you want to go and like hop in a canoe in a lake somewhere and just row out and then play like Xbox streaming in the middle of the lake in the canoe, you'll be able to do it, man. It's going to be a wild day.
That sounds so silly.
Yeah.
It sounds ridiculous, and I can't wait.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have this on the I don't know what else you have on the docket talking about the ActiBlizz merger. Do you have the Hasbro Transformers talk?
No.
Ooh, can I jump in on this then?
Yes, please take it away.
So one of the major things with the merger is that Activision had a bunch of licenses back in the day. So they had Marvel and they had Hasbro, so they had Transformers. Of course, when those licenses go away, and Activision is notorious for this, once the licenses are gone, those games are gone from digital. You can't buy them anymore. One of the big things was Microsoft really wants all those old Transformers games back on the marketplace to be purchasable and to be playable online. So we're talking War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, Devastation, the Michael Bay games. I'm trying to think of the other one that's on there. So there's like really Hasbro is all for this. They're just like, yeah, we want this. If you can put it on Game Pass, like this would be a big get, because like Reset, you know how much fun you and Shiro and I had play the War for Cybertron campaign.
Oh yes.
That was such a good time. Now the thing is too is that Activision said, yeah, cool, we can do this. We don't know where they are. We don't know what hard drive they're on.
What?
So the hunt is on. They're going through all their hard drives trying to find the original code so they can just put that on there. But then again, I'm like, well, at least because you re-release Fall of Cybertron, there's Rise of the Darkspark, that was based on Age of Extinction, I want to say, or The Last Night. I can't remember which one, but it was like a bridge between the Bayverse and the War for Cybertron universe.
Yes.
I'm gonna boot up my Xbox real quick just so I can see
it was
this, because I had them on my
like,
purchase stuff there.
It was the third game in the series. Yeah, War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, and then that one.
Yeah. Let me look at my games here.
Johnny, that story about them not having the code, like, makes me think of like Kingdom Hearts being like, well, we didn't like save the game, so we're gonna have to like literally remake it from scratch for HD. It's like,
there's
oh my God,
many
that's like the biggest faux pas.
There are so many games like that are just code is gone, lost to time forever. I remember Kingdom Hearts was one. That's so like when Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 came out, They basically had to redo the entire game. They had to build the game back up from scratch.
Well,
Kingdom Hearts 2, no problem. They had it, but...
You know what other company had that problem one time when they decided that they wanted to go backwards a little bit due to fan demand? Blizzard Entertainment! Blizzard Entertainment with World of Warcraft Classic! Because they admitted that over time they just built onto the game. They never thought to save the original builds because they never thought they would go back. So right back to it, we'll circle right back in. That was another Blizzard thing. They actually found some people who had the code of Original Classic and the other expansions, and I can't remember if they were polite to them or took it by force, but that's how they got it back. Not because they kept it. No, they're not that smart.
Okay, so the only ones I have on my purchase list are Fall of Cybertron, Rise of the Darkspark, and Devastation. Rise of the Darkspark was the Bayverse. It was around the last night, and then Darkspark was like in between War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. But yeah, their hope is like they can find the hard drive, they'll throw it back off on the store. Hopefully get the matchmaking working again, because I don't know, I don't want to say it was because of the Blizzard merger, but like apparently I didn't know this either, but apparently all the old Call of Duties on 360, the matchmaking was broken, and then Xbox went in and just fixed it. So if you have any of the old Call of Duty games, you can go in and play matchmaking again. And then they did that for, I never knew this either. Apparently Gears 1, 2, and 3 matchmaking was broken. And I'm like, yeah, that's fixed now too. Go play those. And it's a crazy time. So I would love for them to have that.
They were broken? I'm just curious.
Something super technical. I don't know. It just couldn't find a match to save anyone's life there.
Like a simple explanation. Mm-hmm.
You know, while I'm thinking about the future of being able to stream like their old games and having things in the library, like I know they're always putting Crimson Skies up, but I would love to see the original Mechasalt from OG Xbox back, being able to play that.
That's online?
Yeah.
I'll stream it and play online? Now see, if we could do things like that, that would be a great future for Xbox.
Yeah, get those old OG Xbox games back up on Xbox Live.
A lot of them are lost to time, and you know, some of them are on Game Pass, like Crimson Skies. It's always been there, and some of them, like I have those in my collection because, of course, I do. But not everyone does. It would be nice if we could stream them because, like I said, that's the future I'm thinking we're going to have anyway. Make it happen, Phil. Make it happen.
Original Xbox. Can we like relive those days, please?
Hey man, it was Halo 2 that got me to buy an Xbox. Playing that in my roommate's house, and I was just like, dude, I want to get my own. I don't want to play split screen anymore. Like I want to like hook up to the modem, and we all play on the same. Like we all play the same room. We all play on LAN or whatever. Those are great times. One of the things I hope for too is I don't think Marvel and Disney would play ball to say like, hey, Activision, yeah, go ahead and put all those old Marvel games. Go put Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 back on the store. Go put Deadpool back on the store. Go put X-Men Origins Wolverine back on the store. But I mean, it's not backwards compatible. And I would hope that they could because, I mean, this is a side tangent, but Microsoft just announced that the 360 store is going offline next year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, do you think they would keep it open? Like, when everyone kicked and screamed about the PS3 servers and all that crap going down with the store?
I don't know. I don't know, because, like, you know, Sony caved. Well, they caved to a point. I think they did shut down the PSP store.
They did.
Yeah, you can't buy stuff off the PSP store.
It's so hacked.
You can get them on the Vita. You can get them on the Vita. I think the Vita store is still open, and by extension, the PlayStation TV store is still open. So if you really wanted PSP games digitally, that's your way. I mean, they caved to that. Nintendo did not cave with the eShops.
No.
They're like, nope, it's done.
Nintendo is so hardcore.
Yeah, I would think that they would kill it. I mean, I don't. I occasionally turn my 360 on every now and then, but I'm not like playing hardcore games on there. I'm playing stuff that's like not backwards compatible on the Series X.
And not to mention, like, even if the store went down, it really wouldn't be that super impactful because I know the 360 was a very popular console. Very popular. But in terms of, like, exclusives that just, you know, made everybody lose their minds, there really weren't a whole lot of those.
They're on the Xbox One. They're on Series X. They're all backwards compatible, like the major Series one.
Like everything that comes to PC eventually.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Or there's other places like that. So
somewhere.
I think they will go ahead and just let it be done and over with. And it's not going to be a highly sought after console. It's not going to be a highly collectible console. It's going to be a highly moddable console because people are already doing that like crazy. And that's pretty much going to be the history there.
I'm on the hunt. I'm actually going to a giant flea market tomorrow. I'm going to be on the hunt for a burner 360, so I can get into the mod scene. Because you guys have seen my current, the one I use for stuff, right?
I don't think so.
Is it
Oh, you have the Star Wars one?
I do have the Star Wars Connect
Oh
one.
my god!
Yeah. So it does the whole whistles and the beeps and boops. I really wish I could find a C-3PO controller. I don't know where that is.
Oh no.
Well, no, she said she had it, like the woman I bought it from years ago. She said she had it, and then she showed up with like a wired Xbox controller. I was like, oh, I guess you don't have it. Okay. Yeah. I was going to get into a phase of collecting all, like most of the like collector edition ones.
Save yourself.
Like I was looking at the Gears 3 one, and like wife gave me a hard no. I'm like, okay. She's like, why would you need that? I said, because I have a Gears of War shelf and I want to put it up there and it looks cool. She's like, do you really need it? I'm like, no. Okay.
It's so good for that matter. Like that's like the one bro game, let me just put it that way, that I think is like actually very good out of everything we talked about tonight.
Dude, I still shed tears for Dom.
We're going to fall right back into the whole collecting thing from last episode with her saying that. Because you don't ask a collector, do you need that? We don't need any of this. We just want it.
We don't need it. I just want it. Yeah.
Never ask that question.
Yeah. So yeah, like I would never mod or touch that one. That's too precious. So I'm just gonna find a spare one somewhere to burn through. If they decide to have some killer sales on that store before they shut it down, yeah, I'll pony up some Microsoft points. And oh wait, there's no more points.
Oh, well, do you just have to do straight credit card, or do you have to pull some?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, it's yeah. I was joking before because like before. Xbox Live Arcade games were points. It's like 400 points, 800 points. It's like I have to go buy a card, and I got 200 points left over. What do I do? Do I save that for the
they were going for, but it was confusing as shit.
It was
it's $20 for 1,600 points.
Like, can that buy me a map? Sure.
It was the goofiest stuff. Yeah. I guess I'll make a statement, and then we can probably wrap this up with OG Xbox memories. Since we're talking Xbox, when we first got an Xbox, if we got an Xbox. First up, I might be trying to mod an OG Xbox because I was trying to sell a Birkin, but nobody rushed over to Reset Revolution Games and Toys and bought the Birkin Xbox to repair. None of you did it, so I guess I'm gonna have to fix it myself. I'm pretty sure it just needs the power supply board replaced. I've already popped the thing open, looked at everything, cleaned both processors. By the way, did you know that OG Xboxes have two processors, a CPU and a GPU?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them have just an APU. Original Xbox does not, which makes it one of the most PC-like consoles I've ever seen. So that's pretty cool. And then, original Xbox, I think I just picked it up on a whim because I was a very stupid kid when I went to college at first. I got money back because I only went the spring semester of that year, got money back, and thought, oh, well, this is cool. This is going to happen every time. And I took that money and bought an original Xbox, and I got Soul Calibur 2. I don't know why Soul Calibur 2. I guess I think somebody said Spawn was in it. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, Spawn. And I think that's...
10 year, and then 10 years later, he got put into a better fighting game. I mean, and MK11, he's actually voiced by Keith David, so...
Was he not voiced by Keith David in that one?
In Soul Calibur?
Yeah.
No, there was barely any voices. There was just be grunts and shit.
All he does say "get the hell out."
Yeah, I don't think that was Keith David.
It didn't sound like him. I didn't know. It certainly did not sound like him. But yeah, that was my original Xbox first get. Got that, and then quickly got Crimson Skies, and it was okay. But then I got Mech Assault and played that with a buddy, and that is what wrecked a good portion of my first try at college. Because you can't do well when you're up till 3 in the morning playing Mech Assault. That's what I've heard.
What people say. No, mine was like I said, I had no intentions of ever getting an Xbox. My childhood friend had it and invited me over one time. We just did the last run of Halo. I was like, oh, this is cool. I didn't really thought into it. It wasn't until I like moved in with someone who had an Xbox and Halo 2. I just every night after work, just get on Xbox Live, play. We met a bunch of guys that were in a not an esports clan, but they had a clan name. But they were just like a bunch of guys from Ontario that just loved playing the game. They'd get together and they called themselves the 125s because they would play poker with each other. And at the end of the night, someone would always cash out with $1.25 left, and they were like, "This is weird. We should name our clan this." So eventually, they brought us into the fold. We got our own gamer tags. We actually had 2 different gamer tags. We had like our own personal one, and then we had one that we were actually like, if we were in like a big team battle, you knew that it was us because we all had 125 at the end of our names. So that was the major hook. I think also we were playing a lot of Burnout 3, and that game was just we would crank the subwoofer up so loud, and anytime an explosion happened, like the house shook. So like my other roommates were like coming out from having a smoke. It's just like, can you turn that down? The house is like literally shaking. It was like, all right.
No,
but no, then that's how I was like, okay, I need to get my own system. So I went to GameStop, bought a used system, bought a used copy of Halo 2. Got a microphone hooked up. All right, let's go. Let's play. And like we like religiously played Halo 2 like at least 2 times a week. And sometimes like after coming home from the club, you're just like so like still high, or not high, but you got that adrenaline, or you're still a little bit buzzed. Hop on. It was like oh let's play. Those days. Okay. I never got that feeling with the 360. Like I still played games online. Like I played the occasional Gears 2, and then got really into Gears 3, a little Halo, and maybe a little Modern Warfare. But I never got seriously competitive or enjoyment as they did with Halo 2 on the OG Xbox. So that's my OG Xbox story.
I would say
Very
like
fun.
really quick
on me, the 360 still held a little bit of that for me because of the Screw Attack community. So that's where we had Xbox Party Chat for what it eventually I think that became like God, what did I call that? FNG, Friday Night Gaming, is what I tried to hold as a community thing for Screw Attack, and it was a bunch of those guys. We played Halo Reach and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it hit. It didn't hit the same way, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't the same way as Halo 2 for me, but it was a now that you mentioned that was a great experience too, because like I met so many people through that, like playing Third Strike with the community. I think Tom hosted a lot of those. Tom the Iron Man hosted a lot of those nights. Also doing like beat 'em up games, so we played a lot of like X-Men, Simpsons Arcade, Scott Pilgrim versus the World when that online came out and didn't work and still doesn't work. I don't know how Ubisoft can't
I still
setting
play
to work.
beat 'em.
I
I
still
still actually play beat 'em ups with some folks every New Year's Eve while being drunk off my ass. Shout out to you boys. If you see that, you know what I'm talking about. Liz, did you get an original Xbox?
Yes.
Please tell us
I
about
think
that.
I got the original. So in like maybe like 10 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago, I was like, maybe I should have gotten a GameCube instead. You know, when I'm like an older kid, tweenage age. But long story short, I feel like my brother convinced me I wanted an Xbox, okay? So my birthday was about 5-6 months after the release, and we did get an Xbox on my birthday. And guess who wound up playing it more? My big bro. So,
Betrayal.
thinking about it, like as an adult, when you can process that, that's one thing. But I do have to be thankful for a lot of games, which I do think influenced me, and a lot of my tastes that I don't think I would have played otherwise. I remember like Oddworld Munch's Odyssey being one of my earlier Xbox games, and that game was so weird and like kind of icky and amazing. And I discovered Oddworld, which I think is a phenomenal series. It's very, I just like weird games. I don't know. So that really blended with me when I was younger. And I think of some other really, really significant Xbox games that were a huge influence me. When I was about 10-ish, around that age, 10, 11, I discovered Elder Scrolls for the first time. And I think I got like Morrowind, like vanilla. And then I was like, what? There's a Game of the Year version with all these expansions? And I was like, Mom, gotta take me back to GameStop. I gotta return this before the window and get the better one. She's like, why would you spend like $15 more to buy this game with all this stuff? And I'm like, Mom, you don't understand. So that was a very big deal.
Stuff in it. That's for stuff.
It's got the stuff.
Plus my mother, like driving her daughter to go buy video games and having the routine system of giving a thumbs up because it's rated M, and she didn't want to walk out from the car. She would drive up and be like, "It's okay, you could sell the game to my kid, that rated M title." A lot of that for many, many years. Bless my mom. Yeah, Morrowind was really, really big for me, and also the Call of Cthulhu game. That's still like, okay, aside from like it being kind of like a broken game and you can't like do certain things if you play it on PC, I think it is. That game is phenomenal and it's super spooky, and that like really, really influenced me. In terms of getting to other series like Silent Hill, it was kind of like my gateway into like more and more spooky games, because one of my best friends at that age, after I had the Xbox a couple years and I was like 10, 11, like my best friend at that time, her dad played a lot of original Xbox and got a 360 day one, and it was so cool. And I got really influenced by a middle-aged man's tastes in games and what his daughters would also play with him. And then, I'd borrow or be like looped in with like the family Xbox night. And I don't know, I mean, in general, I'm not an Xbox fan, but I think the original really, really exposed me to so many genres and things that I liked on like my old N64 era, with kind of like my weird, kind of eerie games, I would call them. And it just kind of like pushed me forward to find more stuff. But then it really led me down the PlayStation route there afterwards.
It reminds me that the original Xbox was really pushing the whole let's bring PC games to a console kind of thing, because I had a pretty decent PC at the time, so I was playing Morrowind on PC. I was also playing Counter-Strike, but I was really interested when I heard that both of those were coming to Xbox. Of course, I played Morrowind first and thought, this is pretty good. It's about a 1-for-1. You can work with this, and it's fun. And then I played Counter-Strike on Xbox, and that was bad. That was incredibly bad. Painfully bad.
My brother being into all those things, Halo and Counter-Strike, and there's so many bad games that I played on Xbox simply because it was like my brother's game. Or again, he's 6 years older than me. He's significantly older. So when you're like 8, 9, 10, and then your much older brother, like, You know, he bullied you when you were a lot younger on GoldenEye, and he's still doing it with the other shooting games. Makes you not so interested in those games anymore.
Yeah, Xbox wasn't the family because that was my own console. Last family one we had that I kind of took over was the Super Nintendo. Because Nintendo 64 I bought with my own money, so that was mine. But well, we still got games. I still got games and let the family play. I invested in more controllers for them, but it was mostly mine. I kind of took over every single console that came out with our family. So that was kind of my thing.
Yeah, I think my last console that was purchased for me was N64, and then after that was just like, go to the pawn shop, get a PlayStation because I've got to play the Scissor Man game, got to play that because Clock Tower. Yeah, that's what made me say, hey, I've got to get a PlayStation, got to get that. Because I just remember like a friend of mine who was more into sports games, he wasn't super paying attention, but he's like, oh, there's this horror game with this guy Scissor Man, like the fuck. And then
so much you just don't know.
and then play Clock Tower for the first time. I'm like, okay, it's a brand new world in PlayStation versus N64. I gotta jump. Loved it. But I think that is going to wrap up our conversation on Xbox. Oh, do you have something to end with this?
Oh, no. I just saw a horror movie last night.
Uh-oh.
And, of course, there was like the spooky little music at the beginning. And then I was like, the Clock Tower theme is way better than this movie's. Like, little spooky piano moment. I had that thought, like, last night. It was great. I'm sorry, I'm so into Clock Tower, and it pleases me so much that you brought it up.
I saw you light up when I mentioned it. It's great. And really quick, for anybody who didn't know, I think we covered it, mentioned it last time, but it's worth mentioning again that original Clock Tower coming to the States for the first time very soon. So if you're a Clock Tower fan, be ready for that. Liz is freaking out.
You guys don't even know.
So excellent.
I'm so obsessed.
All right, I think that is gonna do it for this episode of the Reset Button. We appreciate everybody coming out and saying hello. I hope you enjoyed this episode, everyone. And of course, we will see you 2 Fridays from now, as we always do. Have a good night. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of The Reset Button. If you like the podcast, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you'll be updated whenever there's a new episode or various clips that we produce. We appreciate all your support.